Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everyone. If this hasn't been part of your life yet, at some point, it's reasonable to think you will be here. And that is dealing with a situation where you're grieving. And we've said before, that can come in many different shapes and forms, whether it's the passing of a loved one, ending of a relationship, ending of a job, something where there's a change. You're going to be in a grieving a situation. But there can be gifts that come from grief. I never thought those words would even come together. We're going to talk about that today with somebody who has started the National Grief Support Center.com, helps people move their lives forward and walks that journey with them. And she's back with us again today. Julie Ehlers is on the program. How are you doing?
I'm very, very good today. It's another beautiful day. Summer started and it's hot, and I'm ready to get out in it. And I'm also ready to talk about the gifts of grief. It's people who are in acute grief, like they've just lost their loved one, aren't going to be thinking that there's any gifts in grief. Okay. But as you move along the healing process, there are many gifts that come along the way and post grief. And the best gift is that you're going to realize that love is forever. If you've loved somebody and they've passed away, you will always love them and you will always carry them in your heart. They don't just go away, and the feeling of love doesn't just go away because they've passed. It continues. And you and I, Steve, know about that from our own personal experiences. And we've listened to that from both my clients and, friends and family who have lost loved ones. So we all know that it continues. And that's a huge gift to understand in life, that love doesn't go away. Our thoughts and often our feelings for those people don't go away. If it was a spouse, the great gift that could come is some another love in your life. And that is a huge gift to somebody who's lost a husband or wife. Um, and they think that their life has just completely and utterly ended and they can't have that again.
Mm,
Often, as they do their healing work, they realize they still have love to give. They still want to receive love, and you can have it. And it comes. And it comes if we've done some healing and we're able to recognize that it's okay to move forward in your life. It's okay to have a full life. And that's another just absolutely huge gift to come your way if you've lost somebody.
there's so many emotions that will come up, I would imagine, from that, right down to the permission to give yourself maybe the guilt. They only passed 2 years ago. I can't move forward.
Mm.
Although I met this person and they're walking the journey with me and they're wonderful, but I can't. It wouldn't be right. How do you get past that?
That is really first of all, that's when I start thinking about the definition of guilt. No one has done anything wrong to, number one, cause the death of our spouse,
Mm,
right? We didn't cause the death of our spouse, so we're not guilty. And I am almost 100% certain I would have to be talking to the individual directly, but lots of couples talk about, if something happens to me, what would we do? Like,
mm,
what would you do, honey? What would you do? And usually in those conversations, they say, I want you to always have someone in your life to love you. And I
mm.
want you to be able to give the love that you give to me, that you can live fully. And that often comes up in long-term relationships. And sometimes people say, I'll never have the love that I have had with you, because that's how you truly feel in that moment.
Yeah.
But then life changes, and the major change is when a spouse dies, right? And then we have to say, okay, what did he or she say to me? Did he ever tell me it's okay to move forward and get married again, have a life, so on and so forth?
Mm.
And if you didn't have that conversation with your spouse, I know that inside of yourself, you know, and I would work with that person, they know inside themselves that they can. Nobody has to be a prisoner to themselves.
That's the challenge. And I would imagine, I'm not in that situation, but when you have a spouse that passes, um, I bet you deep down inside, many people would admit to themselves that my spouse would want me to be happy.
Yes.
Afraid to admit it, but you would hear it deep down inside, but you don't
Mhm.
want to. Sometimes we get stuck. We get stuck.
Yes. And that's the work that I do is about helping people get unstuck.
Mm,
And in our podcast on April 21st, we had Summer who talked a lot about getting unstuck and leaping. And it was the work that she did on herself and in relationship with her spouse who had passed, um, in learning how to move forward and not staying in the same place she was the day he died. No one needs to stay right there in that space. The earth keeps turning, the sun keeps rising, the moon comes up and sets, and our children get older and we get older, and the routines of the world continue, right? The seasons come and go. And you can stay right in that place and never move from that. But what is that doing for you?
and the others around you too.
That's right. What are you getting out of that?
Mm,
Um, that is, I give you permission. Anyone listening to this, I give you full permission to move forward in your life. If you need to hear it, I'm saying it. I'm sure you would echo it, Steve.
sure.
Everybody has permission to move forward in their life.
And we don't mean this in a negative way,
No.
where somebody hasn't. It's been 5 years, and you haven't moved forward, maybe another relationship, or even just move forward many other areas. Uh, that we're not judging. We're just
Mm-mm.
saying it's okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
that's part of life is moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been said before too that if you're not evolving, you're not living.
Exactly.
You're stuck. Literally,
Exactly.
you're stuck in time. But life around you is moving. Let's
Mm-hmm.
say you did lose your spouse. Now your kids are growing. They want
Right.
to see you happy. There's so many things going on there, but I can totally understand how you can be, for lack of a better description, stuck.
Yeah. And it's a great word to describe what happens to people who lose a spouse. It's and sometimes even when they lose a child, um, their whole life just is leveled. But you don't have to stay leveled. You can plant new seeds for yourself
Mm,
and water them and go and enjoy an evening with your other children. If you don't have other children, then you go and enjoy an evening with friends, maybe other family members. But life is worth really. I know some people get extremely depressed, clinically depressed, and really have to work through a lot of stuff. And maybe it involves medication therapies too. But it's really, really important to breathe and feel the breath of life. I mean, you were given the day, you woke up to the sun. whether it's a gray day or sun shining in your area, the sun rose for you. So you get to rise and greet it. It's something we do. It's a reciprocal thing with energy, right?
Even keeping a gratitude journal about those things. And this is ridiculous, but I'm going to share it with you. A week ago, I had an issue with my one nasal passage. I have a deviated septum since I was in my
Okay.
20s. And it just like almost like a pimple in my nose, but maybe it got infected. I don't know what it was.
Hmm.
It closed up a nasal passage. Now I
Oh
can't
gosh.
breathe.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
uncomfortable. It's like having a
Right.
cold. I'm like, what? And when is it going to go away? Cold
Right.
is 5 days,
Right.
whatever. Well, went to urgent care, got, some meds and ointment, literally went away in 2 or 3 days and all good. Um, but it made me wonder and made me think. And I keep a gratitude journal. So that morning, I actually wrote, what are you grateful for? Breathing,
Yes.
breathing. Like
Yes.
it sounds, we take it for granted. And we could do a whole podcast on the impact of intentional breathing, deep breaths to reset you in a moment, when you're triggered
Hmm.
or maybe you're upset or whatever it might be. There's so much there. But we take for granted these simple things like breathing.
Right, exactly. And I love that you brought up the gratitude journal because the thing that I noticed too, and you probably noticed this, and I'd love to hear about
And
what
I
you have to
forgot to
say.
write mine this morning, and I'm like, I should have.
I
Forgot.
say, yeah, and I say it most of the time. Um, what I'm grateful for, I just say it out loud.
Mm, mm.
And then I kind of have my meditation, you could call it a prayer. It's also a meditation just about intentional thinking. Like I'm grateful that I woke up today, right?
Mm.
And I looked outside my window, and where I live, I have a lot of deer, and there is a deer lying down, looking inside the window, chewing his cud. I didn't know that deer do that, and they do. So he's looking inside, and I'm just thinking, I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for you. Thank you for being here this morning.
Hmm.
He,
And
ad-
maybe there was a reason that that deer showed up for
right,
you. But
right.
I had it this morning walking my dog. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. We come upon a rabbit.
Oh,
Rabbit's a little one. He's just hanging out
mhm,
there, and I'm with my dog, and my dog's like, and I just said, relax. I'm not even kidding. I stayed frozen, and so did my dog. He's just looking.
mhm,
It felt like 10 minutes. It wasn't. It's probably two. Just watching the rabbit and assuring the rabbit, like, we're good, man. We're not going to bother you. It's good. I
right,
appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
right,
Um, Maybe we needed to see that. I don't know, but I appreciate that moment.
right. And Steve, to me, those are the gifts of really being alive. And those are the moments that the universe says, pause.
Yeah.
You're taking in the vulnerability, you're sharing with an animal that you're not going to bring harm. It puts out great energy into the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
It changes the way we greet our day and the way that the routines and the passage of our day goes, actually. And I think that that's one of the greatest gifts that come out of the gratitude journaling is it sets the tone.
You said something before that it's so obvious that I didn't even consider it. And that is, I keep a gratitude journal. By the way, fantastic one on Amazon, $8. This one's for like 25 bucks. And for the $8, it's like a knockoff, same thing. And it's got different fields you fill out. You could say it has a section, uh, I am. What
Mm,
is your power statements? What would make today a great day? Three things. And of course, there's three lines for gratitude. But put that aside. You just said, say them verbally.
mhm,
Say them. I don't do it. I don't, nobody has to be
mhm,
around. You could be driving.
mhm,
But think of all those things you do say to yourself or out loud.
mhm.
You know, might not have the best day, and you might be saying to yourself, "Oh, my life sucks," or you may
Right.
be, somebody cuts you off in traffic, and you're, cursing that person out, whatever it might be. We don't say those things that we're grateful for out loud. And, some of us will say, I'm grateful for my kids and things like that. But even go deeper, um, what you say becomes
That's right.
your
That's
reality.
right. That is exactly right. And you can you could go to therapy for the rest of time, and if you don't listen to what you just said and
Hmm.
take that in, what you say and what you think becomes your reality. That's the truth of all life.
It is.
So when you're sad in grief, okay, and you are in acute grief, it's very, very important to allow yourself to have all the emotions. And then as you talk to somebody about it, and hopefully you do, because it helps you move in it, but also acknowledging everything that you need to acknowledge about your loss, um, you get to the other side with this powerful new you of gratitude for being alive, gratitude for the life that you had with your late spouse, gratitude for, maybe the children you had together, and for this new life. And like my former client Summer is doing, she's getting married in 3 weeks, of which I'll officiate, right?
Whoa.
I know, I know. Full circle. She is getting married, and in this, circle of love, the circle of love, there's not a beginning and there is no end. It just is. And grievers get to this point of being able to have that and being able to look at the good parts of your previous relationship and the not so good parts of your previous relationship and say, okay, I got so much out of this on the good parts, right? And I learned so much from, say, what you may have thought was the not so good parts. The good stuff is that you learned from it and you can go forward. You can go forward from the relationship. You can go forward into a new relationship and learn to trust again, to
Hmm.
give love and to receive it. And Christian and Summer are going to do that together in 3 weeks. And I'm so happy for them.
Wow.
Just
I,
so happy.
I don't, I met her through you here,
Yes, yes.
but I'm happy for him. It's like,
Yay.
whoa. You've mentioned this word before that we need to have hope to
Mhm.
pilot us forward. How do you define hope? What is that?
Hope is the belief in in that you can have something and that you are a part of something. Okay, so you have hope in yourself, you have hope in the world around you. We have hope that we will have world peace again and that the wars will come to an end and our leaders can find resolution, right? We have hope for that. And if we don't have hope, we've lost so much.
Hmm.
Because in the hope is the outlook, our outlook in life, just like the gratitude. I'm grateful for today because on our soil today in America, we do have peace. You and I have peace, Steve, right here, you in the studio and me calling in. And there's a lot of hope in that. There's lots and lots, there's millions of people across our country that have that today. We have a sense of hope that everything's going to be okay. We're going to figure it out along the way, and we're going to figure out how to grieve and what's important when we're talking about grief, what's important in our grief to look at. And we have hope and we have courage and we have bravery in our journey that we come to the other side of the grief. It doesn't mean grief goes away. It just means that we have hope and we go forward and we can have love again and we can have happiness and we can share all that and receive all that in the world around us.
have it and be allowed to have it, because many
Yeah.
of us are afraid. Hope and faith. Now, I don't mean the
Yeah.
word faith connected to religion,
Right.
but what's the difference between those two words? I'm not even sure. I wonder.
I'm not sure either. I
Hmm.
really am not. It's almost like they're a parallel. We have, it's important to have faith in ourselves and faith in others. And that's the trust. It's like hope, faith, trust.
Would it be like this? Would it be hope is the direction? I'm hopeful that this and that, and then faith is the power behind it, because you have faith in yourself, you have
Mm-hmm.
faith in others, or
Mm-hmm.
should, and that gets you, it kind of pushes you toward that hope word.
Yes, I agree. And to have trust in yourself that you can execute
That's a big
whatever
one.
it, yeah, that whatever it is that you are planning on doing, that you can execute it. And I believe truly, if you believe in yourself, you can have all of those things and that they work together towards the greater good of you.
Not to be negative, but it can be challenging, especially when you spent your life with somebody and you relied on them for many
Mm,
different things, and they relied on
mhm.
you. Um, Now you find yourself without them. So now you have to find faith in yourself that you can do it.
Right. And that's huge
It is.
because it's very scary. And I acknowledge 100% how scary it is when you lose somebody that you've shared life with. And now you're on your own. That is, that's where talking to somebody who is a specialist in these areas would
Yep.
be helpful, super helpful. Um, and, the whole point of it is to be lifted up, to help learn how to believe in yourself again, and to be able to move forward in a healthy way so you can have all the greatness that life is meant to be for you, that person who feels leveled. Um, Super important to reach out.
Yeah. It's a lot of times many of us don't want to ask for help.
Hmm.
I think we're programmed to be self-sufficient. Maybe that was instilled from our parents. I don't know what it is. Um, but people like to help other people. It helps
Yes.
them. It makes them feel
Yes.
good. It's not a burden. I don't want to be a burden on them. I don't want to call that person again and just tell them, I'm having a bad day or whatever it might
Right.
be. No, they welcome it.
That's right. That's
Hmm.
right. And you aren't alone and you're not a burden and you're going to be okay. But it's really, really, really important, I believe, to reach out,
Yeah.
whether it's a family member, a friend, or a professional, whichever path. And if family members and friends are unable to be there because they can't sustain the level of what you need, call me. I'd be there for you.
How do we do that? What's your number?
720-480-3317. And you can reach me at the nationalgriefsupportcenter.com.
Love what you do. Don't know anybody that does it, and particularly in the way that you do it. And just the fact that you help somebody, Summer, move forward, and you're going to officiate her wedding.
Hmm.
No words. I really
I
don't have words.
know. I know.
There's just, if I'm writing the script, I'm Spielberg, and I'm writing the story. There it is.
Hmm.
There it is. And you know why? Because there's hope. Julie,
Yes.
thank you so much for being here today and all that you do. Really appreciate it.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.